Welcome, everyone, to the Tether Shipyards. I am Takeshi Yamato, the Yard Master, joining our host, the Housecoat Gamer.
Yo.
Today, we are taking a look at the Vulture class droid starfighter.
Officially designated as Variable Geometry Self-Propelled Battle Droid, Mark 1. The Vulture actually comes from that acronym and is a very, very, very unique little craft because technically it's a drone. An unmanned starfighter. It has next to no armor, has 3 times the amount of armament of any TIE fighter, and is incredibly fast. Its only weakness, well, it does not have a sentient pilot. Now, to be fair, these problems are really mitigated by the fact that there are usually thousands of them. A Lucrehulk class starship can carry 1,500 of the bastards.
Yeah!
Good luck surviving that many unless you've got plot armor.
Yeah! yeah. Yeah, even Jedi evasive abilities would not last too long against that size of a swarm, unless you were plot relevant.
Yes, case in point, Anakin Skywalker. In fact, many Jedi did lose their lives thanks to the unending swarms of these things.
Yeah.
Now, regardless of their limitations, such as their inability to handle, well, pretty much anything anything unexpected, like allied units shooting on them, they are still incredibly effective, and if reprogrammed properly, they would have served the Galactic Empire quite usefully. We both
Yeah.
know how that ended.
Yeah.
And my eye is twitching because of the stupidity that is Wilhelm freaking Tarkin.
Yeah. Also, I have to give a few props for Mace Windu, 2003 Clone Wars cartoon.
What
When
do you
he.
think I was mentioning, Take?
Oh, yeah. uh, that was very interesting, seeing him bail out of his starfighter and basically hijack a vulture.
Regardless, the Vulture is still an incredibly useful little craft. Upgrade the droid brain a little, and you have probably the best swarm fighter. Or, you could slave them to more advanced fighter craft, such as a TIE Defender, and you could have disposable wingmen. A
Oh
similar
yeah,
concept as seen in Ace Combat 7.
yeah. Or, te- or if you wanted to go full crossover, we have to we have to call mention to Gundam X and the G bits. Basically,
I
mobile
think
mobile
I
suit sized drones operated by new type Thought. These could easily work on the same principle.
Anywho, what is the main problem with the Vulture? It's fragile as all hell.
Yeah. Partly because it is a fair bit complex because those wings can
They,
also they can also turn into legs.
it can turn
Yes.
into a walking tank. Just not very usable.
Yeah.
More used for maintenance than anything else.
Yeah. This this thing is fast, it is agile, but it is and it packs a punch, but at the same time, it is also very flimsy. Just breathing on it wrong could cause it to break.
Maybe an exaggeration there, but not entirely wrong.
Yeah. Now,
As for the stats, well,
yes. As for the stats, we're doing the standard wars thing of everything representing 22, being represented by 2250s level stats. So for a pod, that is 16 intervals of 25 years. That's 18 points total. So we drop. So that means we start with base level of 18 points. So we start with a 3 in everything. And we're going to drop structure all the way down to 1. We can't drop it down to 0. We have to leave it at 1. So that frees up 2 points, which we will put into weapons, weapons 4, and engines, engines 4. We will leave comms at 3 and computers at 3. Decent communications with a controller unit, and the droid brain does have, and the computers will work with the droid brain. Sensors, I'll drop sensors down to 2 to put engines at 5.
as with all things, these things require a sensor uplink for, well, use. They are effectively slaved to whatever control system.
Yeah.
And that control system better have pretty good comms.
Yeah, a control system better have pretty good comms, and it also better have plenty of protection. Again, Anakin Skywalker and how he took out that one droid control ship. Obviously, the odds of actually getting to that, of actually doing that kind of thing, are very small. He had protagonist power, but still. Anyway, department values. It has 1 point each in command and security as a pod. And for weapons, I think it just has laser cannons.
Indeed it does. 6 of them.
So let me take the TIE Fighter laser cannons and put them and copy paste them into the Vulture document. For derived stats, has resistance 1 for scale 1, 3 power, and 0 shields, because this is where the special rules come in. Like TIE fighters, the Vulture class starfighter has the shieldless special rule. It also has the droid brain special rule. The Vulture class starfighter has a droid brain running its systems. This functions similar to trained generic starship crew, with an attribute score of 9 and a department score of 2 for all checks, and always has focus. Focus being basically crit range. If you have a department score of higher than 1 in Star Trek Adventures, and when reaching checks, you always have to. Your target value is your discipline, your attribute plus your discipline. And if you have focus, because of a talent. Because of if you have focus, you basically that if you roll a 1 normally, you get a crit, which basically counts as 2 successes. If you have focus, that range increases from 1 to your maximum discipline score. So if you had command 5 on a command check and you had focus, if you rolled a 1 through 5, you would get the 2 success crit. And for traits, Trade Federation Pod and automated.
This may sound like an unpopular opinion, but I actually happen to like the Vulture droid.
Yeah.
It's while it is overly complicated, it is effectively very cheap to mass produce and superior in almost every way to the TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
In fact, it would have made a logical choice to maybe modify the TIE just a little bit to serve as a command vessel for multiple Vultures.
Yeah. Of course, there were 2 problems with that. One, anti-droid bias in wake of the Clone Wars. The Separatists used droids primarily, and they were the ones who lost. And, again, Tarkin.
Wouldn't take very much to redesign these things to look like TIEs. After all, that's effectively what the TIE droid is.
Yeah. And there were some Imperial battle droid programs beyond the TIE droid. Dark Trooper! But
yeah,
by and all, the Clone Wars soured most of the galaxy to droid combat forces.
Stupidity.
Yeah. And I will admit it has its own appeal. I prefer things like the E-Wing, and the X-Wing, but this is still decent.
Bye-bye.